Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin Part 119 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. The Abyss of Destruction, 27th layer. The ground was a colorful crystal, and upon this crystalline land, a woman in a grey robe stood. Winds that could obliterate a world-level primordial life blew, yet they could not move a hair on her head. Her gaze pierced through the obstacles of time and space, focusing on Luo Feng, who was on a higher layer. She had long awaited this battle. Swoosh! A man with black hair draped in a blood-colored robe finally descended to this layer of the destruction world. Luo Feng. Shoju smiled slightly, her smile possessing a strange allure. At this moment, various forces within the endless primordial space, including some very secretive existences, were watching this battle. Sister Shoju. Yuan watched, seeing Sister Shoju smile once more. Shoju was of a very reclusive nature, wholeheartedly pursuing the path of the strongest. Her smile was very rare, and in Yuan's memory, it had occurred only a limited number of times. Ever since the Cultivator camp and the Ice Peak camp drifted apart, he and Sister Shoju had rarely acted together. Among many ancestors, Shoju's destruction talent is the highest. Relying on two highest-level powers, she can exert such might, Starlight also marveled. Ice Peak Ancestor, Infinite Snake Ancestor, Kafu, Feather Emperor, Demon Ruins, and the like, all mastered the two highest-level powers, with a combination considered extremely strong. Even among them, there are those who mastered the mysterious land. But Shoju, among the ancestors, was uniquely powerful. In terms of destruction and damage, I am also a notch below her, said Starlight. He matched Shoju only through multifaceted methods. Sister Shoju is very pure, Yuan nodded. If we talk about who among this group of ancestors might understand the primordial level Tao, I think Sister Shoju has the most potential. Sister Shoju. The Ice Peak ancestor gazed from afar. Long ago, before he established the Ice Peak camp, his strength was far weaker than it is now. He and Sister Shoju once roamed the endless primordial space together, exploring some mysterious lands. Back then, Sister Shoju protected and cared for him. After the Ice Peak ancestor reached the undying and undying level, Shoju began to let go. Sister Shoju, I believe you will win, the Ice Peak ancestor said. Even though Luo Feng's talent is high, he is still not as strong as you. Sister Shoju had not lost since becoming invincible. Asterisk 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 asterisk. On the 27th layer of the Abyss of Destruction, on the Crystal Land, Luo Feng and Shoju looked at each other. I've waited for you for so long, Shoju smiled, her eyes full of battle intent. Luo Feng, give it your all. Shoju, you too, give it your all. Luo Feng's battle intent was equally fierce. He was already at the point where he could open up the primordial blade path at any moment. But Luo Feng still wanted to see what kind of strength the longest undefeated Shoju in the endless primordial space held. For Luo Feng, finding a suitable opponent at his current realm was rare. Shoju was a suitable opponent. Be careful now. As Shoju's words fell, a grey-robed figure naturally dissipated, transforming into an endless flame. This flame, in an instant, spread through this layer of the destruction world. The Crystal Land, as the matter of the 27th layer of the Abyss of Destruction, was extraordinary, yet under the pervasive flames, it melted into a colorful flowing liquid. More colorful mist rose, mingling within the flames. The flame was an ashen white, burning everything. Sizzle 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 tilde 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 tilde. Luo Feng stood there, his protective energy layer resisting the flame's invasion. He watched the land melt and flow, understanding that it had likely melted and solidified countless times before. Fire as the root, destruction as the fruit. A cold voice resonated in the endless flames. In the endless flames, a black flame coalesced. This black flame, the moment it appeared, was already burning on the surface and inside Luo Feng's body simultaneously. In the blink of an eye, the endless flames throughout the destruction world transformed into black flames. These black flames surrounded Luo Feng, burning both inside and out. ignoring all defense. Burning everywhere. Luo Feng felt his body consume about 1/10 of his energy reserve every breath, a shocking realization. This destructive capability was too terrifying. I knew it, Lord Luo Feng possesses the power of life. For this battle, I created the life-burning technique. Yet it still doesn't threaten Lord Luo Feng. A voice echoed through the heavens and earth. Next, I'll use my most confident killing move. I'll burn my true body to unleash my strongest strike. The cold voice echoed everywhere. Please. Luo Feng stood there, patient enough. He very much wanted to witness Shoju's strongest strike burning her true body. Buzz. In the void of the heavens and earth, flames enveloped Luo Feng. The black flames, already burning inside and outside Luo Feng's body, instantly converged. Origin Great Destruction. Luo Feng's expression changed. All the flames spreading throughout this layer of the destruction world instantly gathered inside Luo Feng's body. Luo Feng couldn't stop this process. This flame was formless and intangible, impossible to obstruct. When they all condensed inside Luo Feng instantaneously, something akin to the Origin Great Destruction explosion began. The most terrifying part of this explosion was the ultra-high power at the point where all flame forces condensed, leveraging a certain rules mystery, initiating the self-destruction of the entire destruction world. It triggered the self-destruction of space-time. Triggered the self-destruction of all forces. Even Luo Feng's own physical body, his own power, was affected. Boom! Luo Feng delightedly felt the terrifying great destruction happening deep within his body. In his delight, Luo Feng urged his body to explode, making his energy momentarily spread throughout the entire layer of the destruction world. This is what I wanted to see. Luo Feng was immensely delighted. His primordial blade path revolves around the Great Destruction System as its core, striving for the same amount of energy to exert supreme might. Yet Shoju's bout utilized only about 1/10 of Luo Feng's energy reserve, but its impression reached 7 to 8/10 or more of Luo Feng's Origin Great Destruction. The key was, her move was indefensible. It could directly erupt at the enemy's innermost core. In comparison, Luo Feng's Origin Great Destruction was far clumsier. Boom tilde tilde tilde. In this terrifying destruction, this layer of the destruction world transforms into endless energy flow. Yet these energy flows partially condense once again, forming the figure of Luo Feng. Still maintaining 70% of the energy reserve. And as time goes on, rapidly recovering. Your energy recovery is so fast. Even endless energy restores into the appearance of a grey-robed woman, Shoju, who looked at Luo Feng in amazement. She controlled this layer of destruction world to recover so quickly, but within the destruction world, my power flows endlessly. I can continuously use killer moves. As soon as the words fell. Boom! Luo Feng slightly sensed and voluntarily scattered his body. Boom! 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 This 27th layer of the destruction world erupts into great destruction repeatedly, each time an attack burning the true body, then the residual power utilizes the strength of the destruction world to execute another killer move. The continuous killer moves, ceaselessly. Making this layer of destruction world seem like boiling water. Shoju, you can't do anything to me. Luo Feng's voice rang out through every part of the destruction world. Your killer move unleashes at a single point. My body is scattered across the heavens and earth, you can only slightly injure me each time. You also take one move from me. This is a new killer move I've comprehended through venturing into the abyss of destruction. Luo Feng, amidst Shoju's incessant destruction, naturally understood the secret of destruction of Shoju's move due to his accumulation powerful enough to establish the destruction path. However, Shoju's move is a combination of flame power and power of destruction, and Luo Feng could only research the aspect of destruction, unable to emulate. But seeing Shoju's move also increased Luo Feng's insight into the great destruction system at the core of the primordial blade path. Reaching this step, Luo Feng could no longer suppress it. An immensely profound insight, naturally in his heart, sketched the secret patterns, forming a complete primordial blade path. Everything was as if naturally conceived. Swoosh! Luo Feng stood there, swinging the knife in his hand. This swing sent a shiver throughout the heart of Shou, who was the embodiment of endless flame, seeing a stronger direction. This knife carried an unshakable will, and when it was swung, the 27th layer of this destruction world utterly cracked, even extending to crack the deeper 28th layer, and further into the 29th layer. This knife penetrated through 3 layers of the abyss of destruction. Swoosh! Even Shouju's intangible fiery figure was consumed, with 80% of the body erased in an instant, due to the severe damage to the 27th layer of the abyss of destruction, leaving momentary power shortages for Shouju's recovery. The broken 27th layer of source of destruction, the completely cracked 28th layer, the half-cracked 29th layer. So strong. Shouju's figure in a grey robe condensed, with a blazing look in her eyes. Too strong. In comparison to other ancestors, she was extraordinarily powerful. But compared to her, Luo Feng was extraordinary. Primordial life and death Tao, primordial blade path. Just now, Luo Feng naturally combined 2 primordial level Daos, exerting a terrifyingly formidable knife without holding back. I lost. Shouju opened her mouth. She had lost, yet she was incredibly excited. She saw the way forward. It was justified that the mountain of destruction set the 7 layers of test, with Lord Luo Feng completely suppressing her. Luo Feng, your knife can be deemed the most terrifying blade throughout the endless primordial space. Shouju said, the entire cultivator camp will change because of you. Shouju also felt a bit complicated inside. She knew that the Ice Peak camp couldn't compare to the cultivator camp anymore. The Starlight Lord manipulated time and space with impeccable strategy. Luo Feng was unopposable. Yuan Geng could perfectly combine all Lord powers. With these 3 present, the foundation of the cultivator camp was set. Unshakable. You're overrated. Luo Feng was still pondering the primordial blade path he just comprehended. Shouju looked at Luo Feng, hesitating a bit, then conveyed through mind transmission, Luo Feng, based on your destruction talent, you should have been to the mountain of destruction, right? Luo Feng looked at Shouju and nodded, yes. How many layers of test did you pass? Shouju inquired further via transmission. 3 layers. Luo Feng didn't keep it a secret. Shouju realized, indeed stronger than me. Shouju looked at Luo Feng, unable to suppress her eagerness, and transmitted, I want a destruction fruit. If you can give me a destruction fruit, I can promise to fully support your cultivator camp in the future. Luo Feng looked at Shouju, surprised. The destruction fruit is very precious. 1 fruit is equivalent to the empowerment of a regular mysterious land. But if Shouju aligns with the cultivator camp, it on one hand signifies a departure from the Ice Peak camp, and on the other hand, represents a significant increase in the strength of the cultivator camp, akin to adding a new lord. You can come find me anytime. Shouju transmitted. She is a lone traveler, with no deep attachment to the Ice Peak camp. She also grew weary of the Ice Peak camp disputes. Moreover, the Ice Peak ancestor she cared about is already undying, not needing her constant protection. She consumed 2 destruction fruits, and to acquire the 3rd destruction fruit, she was willing to stand with the cultivator camp. However, she wasn't sure if Luo Feng would agree. After all, a destruction fruit is too precious. I need to think about it carefully. Luo Feng replied. No rush. Shouju had patience. Would you like a world envoy to assist you in sparring? All right. Luo Feng smiled slightly. End of this episode. Pause updates tomorrow. The day after tomorrow starts updates for the final episode. Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin is estimated to conclude in August. The story of Devouring Starry Sky, beginning from 2010, will reach its final conclusion in August 2025, marking the end of Luo Feng's story. In the innate primordial camp, within the towering Great Hall, the thoughts of the 9 emperors descended one by one. The battle between Luo Feng and Shouju, did you all see it? The infinite snake ancestor spoke. That blade strike was truly terrifying, lamented the silent extinction ancestor. After Luo Feng fully mastered the primordial blade path, he unleashed a terrifying strike by combining 2 primordial level Daos. That strike pierced through 3 layers of the abyss of destruction, astonishing many ancient beings. In history, there has never been a one-on-one killing of an ancestor, said the infinite snake ancestor. But Luo Feng's offensive power has surpassed that of Starlight and Shou. He stands at the highest level of the entire endless primordial space. I have a premonition that he has the potential to kill an ancestor one-on-one. Ancestors who have lived till now are not so easy to kill, spoke the mother of space-time. At least in some future possibilities she saw, there was no scenario where an ancestor was killed one-on-one. To become an ancestor, one's life core has evolved to a level akin to the source world origin, possessing extremely strong life-preserving methods. Taking as an example the 3 former lords of the Blood Crane territory, the Blood Lord mastered the highest level, blood power, able to transform into a Blood Sea, with energy reserve and life recovery abilities only slightly weaker than Luo Feng. The Crane Lord mastered Undying Power, a weakened version of Wulan. The Shadow Lord mastered Shadow Power, also difficult to deal with. These 3 were considered ordinary among many ancestors, unqualified to occupy any layer of the abyss of destruction, nor qualified for a seat in the land of eternity. As for some who are more formidable, like the Lotus Prison Mountain Master, even with all 8 cultivator camp lords attacking together, they can at most force him into a disordered retreat. Those even more formidable are truly undying and undying. As for those with severe life preservation deficiencies, such are rare. Throughout the long years of conflict among various forces, these kinds of ancestors are the first to be eliminated. The innate primordial camp, Ice Peak camp, and some previous powerful forces have all witnessed the fall of many ancestors. Mother of Space-Time, did you see it? Inquired the giant god emperor. In some future visions I've seen, there's no image of a one-on-one killing of an ancestor, said the mother of Space-Time. But as soon as he cooperates with Starlight, or he cooperates with Yuan, they can slay an ancestor. I've seen this future possibility. The other 8 felt a sudden tension. In the past, it was typically large-scale wars that led to the fall of ancestors. 2 lords joining forces can assassinate an ancestor, the Inference Fire ancestor expressed worry. Luo Feng can suppress all life fluctuations, as can Starlight and Yuan. Suppressing all fluctuations makes it very difficult for the ancestors' many sensing secret techniques to detect anything. Because secret techniques that probe causality and vitality are too difficult to avoid. However, the cultivator lords are existences that have mastered the primordial level Tao. Luo Feng, Starlight, Yuan, and Mo Man, these 4 can completely conceal themselves, making it impossible for the same level to detect them. Wulan, Jin, Minghuang, and Nai Jiyu, those 4, on the other hand, cannot hide themselves. Previously, they couldn't launch sneak attacks. Because even if Starlight, Yuan, and Mo Man joined forces, the resulting force would find it difficult to eliminate an ancestor quickly. I could immediately descend through the infinite world to provide support, stated the infinite snake ancestor. The infinite great serpent clan can all descend through the infinite world, which is their unique characteristic. Indeed, continued the mother of space-time, but the offensive power unleashed by Luo Feng is too terrifying. By himself, he can destroy the majority of an ancestor's power. The Starlight Lord and Lord Yuan only need to pursue and kill the remaining power. Therefore, any collaboration between Luo Feng and Yuan, or Starlight, can potentially kill an ancestor in a short time. Starlight and Yuan are both very adept at pursuing and killing the remaining power. The era has changed. The rise of Luo Feng signifies the entry of the entire endless primordial space into a new era, stated the mother of space-time. In this new era, the fall of ancestors becomes easier. All the 9 emperors understood that in past eras, it was only occasionally in large-scale wars that ancestors fell. But from now on, any collaboration between Luo Feng and Yuan, or Starlight, can suppress all fluctuations, appearing beside an ancestor without any forewarning. Assassinating an ancestor in a short time. Our strategy for dealing with the cultivator camp should also change, said the infinite ancestor solemnly. Although it was undying and undying, it did not want to see the innate primordial camp weakening. When the camp weakens, it means fewer resources owned. As one of the 9 emperors, it would also receive fewer resources. Giant God Emperor, if you still refuse to act, Once the entire camp weakens, the resources for your giant god race cannot be ensured. The infinite snake ancestor looked at the giant god emperor. Surely we can't be the ones fighting desperately while you enjoy the resources, right? The giant god emperor nodded slightly. I understand. Our giant god race will not shirk responsibility. The giant god race boasts more than 10 ancestors, plus numerous world-level and high-level primordial-level races. As the second largest race in the entire camp, their resource consumption is enormous. In future wars, the strategy should change as well. The initial suddenly suggested, I suggest focusing on preservation, with killing as a secondary objective. I agree, said the mother of spacetime. In previous wars, we always aimed to kill the enemy. And we treated the cultivator camp as a grindstone, occasionally losing 1 or 2 ancestors, considering it as weeding out the weak. Future battle arrays need to focus more on ancestors with strong defensive capabilities, taking them as the core. Only by doing so can we guarantee absolute superiority, said the mother of spacetime. With a battle array primarily focused on killing, by aligning several ancestors who can perform soul attacks simultaneously, this kind of arrangement enhances attacking power but severely weakens life preservation capabilities. For example, using ancestors who have mastered the highest level life power, defense power, water power, earth power, power of the world, power of matter, and domain power as the core, to ensure they are unshakable, the mother of spacetime spoke, reflecting on some future possibilities. Although what it had seen was far less than the starlight. At least seeing some successful directions can help avoid many detours. An ordinary cultivator lord can generally match 2 or 3 ancestors working together. Before the cultivator camp, 7 lords united, bolstered by Yuan's formations to multiply their battle strength, yet they were at an absolute disadvantage. They relied on starlight to observe countless future possibilities, Yuan's formations for sustenance, and the intricate cooperation of the Lord's Dows, with defense as the main strategy, occasionally retaliating. Even so, they repeatedly failed, and territories fell one by one. After Luo Feng became a lord, the giant god emperor and 2 of his companions joined the battle. The 3 of them directly captured Luo Feng, while the infinite snake ancestor trapped Wulan. Only Luo Feng's origin great destruction caused damage and induced panic among some ancestors. They felt that it wasn't worth risking their lives to fight against a group of undying and eternal lords for merely 3,600 world groups, resulting in a ceasefire. If we don't ensure the ancestors' safety, I'm afraid many of the weaker ones will refuse to participate in the war, said the silent extinction ancestor. I never thought we would also be forced to prioritize survival in setting up our battle array, lamented the inference fire ancestor. Who were they? They were the first major camp, occupying half of the endless primordial space. The cultivator camp, Ice Peak camp, and numerous scattered forces combined to occupy the other half of the territory. The cultivators have established their foundation, said the infinite snake ancestor. From now on, they will surpass the Ice Peak camp and become our greatest adversary. The Ice Peak camp, even with 12 undying and eternal beings, also had an additional 26 ancestors. Yet, for the born primordial camp with over 120 ancestors, the current threat from the cultivator camp was greater. Countless innate primordial lives will continuously emerge as world-level primordial, even ancestors, said the mother of spacetime. As long as we prioritize survival and value each ancestor's life, it will become extremely difficult for the cultivator camp to kill even one ancestor. In the endless long years that can be foreseen, we will continue to be the most formidable force. It cannot be suppressed any longer. The undying and eternal beings of the Ice Peak camp realized this the moment they witnessed Luo Feng's blade. At this moment, the cultivator camp officially surpassed the Ice Peak camp. What a terrifying blade! The Blood Lord, Crane Lord, and Shadow Lord of the Blood Crane Territory clan watched this battle from afar. They had enmity with Luo Feng. First, the Shadow Lord led his followers to plunder the cultivator territory, then Luo Feng forcibly refined the Blood Crane territory and seized it. Their enmity was irreconcilable. Although our survival ability is strong, the Blood Lord watched from afar. Now Luo Feng is too terrifying. If 5 or 6 cultivator lords teamed up to encircle and kill us, they could succeed. We must align with a faction. Previously, relying on their strong survival ability, they hadn't hurried to join any faction. Indeed, we must join a faction. The Crane Lord and Shadow Lord agreed, as Luo Feng was now much more terrifying than when he refined the Blood Crane territory. Had they known Luo Feng would become so fearsome, the Shadow Lord would have never dared to plunder the Cultivator Camp's territory. The innate Primordial Camp is the strongest and has always invited us, the Blood Lord said. Let's join the innate Primordial Camp. They are mortal enemies with the Cultivator Camp and will surely protect us, the Shadow Lord agreed. With their decision made, soon they led the entire Blood Crane territory clan to seek refuge with the innate Primordial Camp. The innate Primordial Camp, building their battle formations with survival first, naturally welcomed the ancestors with strong survival abilities, such as the Blood Lord and his companions, with open arms. *********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** His unparalleled power above Shou made ordinary ancestors gradually lose their sense of security. Indeed, as individual limits rise higher, the situation for ordinary ancestors becomes more perilous. In future years, ancestors will act more cautiously, unlike their current nonchalance. Even the most powerful innate primordial camp has chosen to establish ancestor battle formations with survival first, underscoring the perceptiveness of these ancestors. Shou, thanks. Luo Feng exited the 27th layer, his figure like a blade cutting through the temporal barriers, arriving at the 28th layer of the Abyss of Destruction. Shou gazed into the 28th layer, where the combined might of 30 world envoys was terrifying. Both Shou and Starlight had tried in vain to penetrate this layer. However, Luo Feng, wielding a blade light strong enough to destroy everything, effortlessly slashed through all the world envoy barriers, easily leaving a life imprint on the shadow of origin at the 28th layer. After mastering the 28th layer, Luo Feng did not rush to push further but instead settled there to create a complete combat technique based on his primordial blade path. At this moment, the 7 Avatar Lords at the Land of Origin smiled brightly. "The era has changed," said Starlight, smiling. "From now on, the offensive and defensive stances have completely switched. I think, with the strength of our cultivator camp, the 3,600 world groups are too few," Lord Nijiu said with deep green skin. "We can now definitely command 8,000 world groups." "Oh, Nijiu, don't you often say wars can be lost?" Jin swung his tail covered in scale armor slowly and chuckled sneakily. "And now you're the first to call for war." "I always felt that strength and territory should match," Lord Nijiu said. "Before Luo Feng appeared, we 7 lords were indeed weak, unable to even contend with the Ice Peak camp, let alone the innate primordial camp. And indeed, the result of the fight was as expected, with world group after world group faltering. It's not that we wanted war, it was the innate primordial camp that wanted to eradicate our foundation," Yuan said. "We had no choice but to fight. I understand, it's all because we were weak. Even if we're willing to compromise, they want to uproot us," Nijiu smiled. "But it's different now. Luo Feng has mastered 2 primordial level Daos. And they are life and destruction, both extremely adept in battle. A single lord like him is equal to 2 Shou. Our overall strength has surpassed the Ice Peak camp and can pose a certain threat to the innate primordial camp. The innate primordial camp occupies 50% of the endless primordial space. Ice Peak camp also occupies 20%, yet we hold just 10%. It doesn't match our strength at all," Nijiu said. "The endless primordial space also has many dark desert territories, with resources nearly negligible. The innate primordial camp occupying 50% territory refers to the valuable territories. Our 10% of the territory is the most densely packed with source worlds," Wulan said. "Simply in terms of the number of source worlds, it's much more than the Ice Peak camps." "Everyone, please don't rush," Yuan spoke. Everyone looked at Yuan. They were still willing to listen to Yuan. "My primordial rule operation path is not far from a breakthrough," Yuan smiled. "We will make decisions after my breakthrough." "Breakthrough?" Minghuang, Mo Man, Jin, Wulan, and others were somewhat excited. The lords all knew well that currently, in terms of direct combat, Luo Feng is the fiercest and strongest. When it comes to mastering time and space without errors, it's naturally Starlight's forte. But regarding the importance to the entire camp, Yuan is the most important. His formation can combine the primordial level DAOs of each lord to form a perfect battle array, boosting the overall strength several times, allowing the lords to counter the massive armies of the innate primordial camp without fearing the army of the Ice Peak camp. How long? Jin asked eagerly. As little as tens of thousands of epochs or as much as millions of epochs, Yuan said. The hearts of the lords present rejoiced. Being able to state a precise timeline means Yuan has full confidence in a breakthrough. Tens of thousands to millions of epochs. Such a time is trivial to the lords. Then we shall wait, Ming Huang said. After Yuan's breakthrough, our overall strength will be even stronger, and the resistance encountered during territory expansion will be much reduced. Starlight watched this scene unfold. Luo Feng has finally become the strongest in direct combat in the endless primordial space. An elder brother Yuan is about to break through. Everything seems perfect, Starlight thought. But in reality, in the vast years to come, there's no possibility of a new lord breaking through. In countless future timelines, many of his avatars roam and observe. It can be confirmed that the current world-level primordial lives in the cultivator camp have no hope of achieving lordship. Those invincible beings within the braided cage, brought to the initial world, even compared to Nai Jiyu, let alone Luo Feng, fall far short, without hope either. The ninth lord is far, far away. Because of the recent continuous improvement of the camp's strength, every one of them is brimming with fighting spirit. Luo Feng has previously intercepted all world-level primordials devouring source worlds. His ambition might fare larger, Starlight sighed secretly. But even if more territories are taken, they still need to be defended. With just 8 lords, how much territory can they defend? Starlight gazed upon the scene. No matter what, with a powerful external enemy, the lords can also set aside their differences and unite. The days when the lords are united are quite good. Starlight cherishes this time dearly. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Beside the origin continent origin world, within the mysterious land, Blood Crane territory, Luo Feng was in retreat, creating combat techniques. On one hand, he occasionally needed to test techniques, and in the abyss of destruction, it was easy to penetrate 2 or 3 layers of destruction world. On the other hand, to create combat techniques, naturally, secrecy is needed. Within the Blood Crane territory he controlled, privacy from all probing was achieved. Boom tilde tilde tilde. A terrifying destructive momentum erupted deep within the Blood Crane territory. Repeated origin destructions, with some powers already surpassing the might Luo Feng exhibited during the camp war with origin great destruction. Forget flexibility, pursue ultimate power. Luo Feng desired to merge the primordial life and death Dao, primordial blade path, and create suitable combat techniques. The first set of techniques to create was the primordial destruction battle technique, which had shown remarkable results in the past. Luo Feng's current energy utilization had greatly improved, allowing a single power to produce greater destructive force. Even the destruction caused by working a formation of 3.6 billion origins was nothing less than the previous origin great destruction. Time passed, and after spending over 300 epochs, the first set of primordial battle technique was completely perfected. This set of techniques is divided into 9 techniques. The first 3 are commonly used lethal moves, each of which can be performed every 1 or 2 moments. But the later 6 techniques explode in different ways with 1.08 billion origins, all considered forbidden techniques. Performing a forbidden technique once greatly reduces power. The power of the forbidden technique is 3 to 4 times that of the past origin great destruction. The previous origin great destruction represented the limit of the endless primordial space's power, and Shoju's ultimate move reached about 70 to 80% of the initial strike by Luo Feng. But now, is it 3 to 4 times stronger than before? From now on, what about group battles? I can crush a group of ancestors with a single strike. Luo Feng's origin battle technique system is aimed at group combats. Begin the next set of combat techniques. Luo Feng began creating the second set of combat techniques, the life-cutting battle technique. This battle technique is silent, does not cut matter, does not cut energy, it only cuts the profound and mysterious vitality. The biggest flaw of the life-cutting battle technique is that the energy transfer limit through vitality is fixed. Luo Feng can only find ways to enhance the destructive power of life-cutting. This battle technique seems to lack power, but it can have marvelous effects at critical moments. After more than 200 eras, the second battle technique was perfected. The third set of combat techniques, the shadow blade technique, the sword technique is like a shadow, it must hit. Because it seeks to ensure every hit, the power of the blade technique must be perfectly controlled, which also limits its power. This blade technique can strike enemies from extremely long distances. Separated by several world groups, Luo Feng can still strike. Of course, the further the distance, the higher the difficulty, and the lower the power of the blade technique. But the vast range of this blade technique can serve many purposes. It's extremely difficult for the enemy to completely escape Luo Feng's pursuit range. The fourth set of combat techniques, the destruction blade technique. This is a close-range blade technique. It doesn't seek to hit, but to destroy everything around. When the distance is relatively close, there is no need to worry about hitting, just cover the entire area. Everything within a certain range is annihilated. A strand of fluctuation merged into the entire endless primordial space's fluctuations, drifting along for endless years, sensing everywhere, understanding and feeling the various aspects of the endless primordial space from the perspective of a single fluctuation. Suddenly, a special fluctuation appeared. A wisp of fluctuation transformed into a tall and thin man in a black cloak. He is Lord Mo Man. Lord Mo Man carefully sensed this special fluctuation, his eyes lit up. Among countless fluctuations, this special fluctuation blended in, seeming unremarkable. But Mo Man, who mastered the primordial fluctuation Tao, understood the extraordinariness of this special fluctuation. "I've finally waited for it." Lord Mo Man smiled. "Luo Feng, the fluctuation land has appeared, we need to set off immediately." Lord Mo Man transmitted the message from afar, "You can set off now, right?" Within the Blood Crane territory. Luo Feng had been in seclusion here creating combat techniques for over 900 eras, consecutively creating the Origin Battle Technique, Life-Cutting Battle Technique, Shadow Blade Technique, Destruction Blade Technique, and was now in the process of creating the fifth combat technique, Clone Battle Technique, although this fifth technique was still under creation with many imperfections. "Of course I can set off." Luo Feng immediately responded. He had promised Mo Man long ago, and his combat technique system was relatively complete, just the right opportunity to test his methods. "Good." Lord Mo Man was overjoyed. "Let's meet at the mysterious land Flame Mountains near the Abyss of Destruction." "I'll set off now." Luo Feng was straightforward. The avatar at the 28th layer of the Abyss of Destruction immediately absorbed energy and grew to the main battle avatar level, also carrying 2 suitable weapons. He set off promptly. During his exploration of the Abyss of Destruction, Luo Feng had accumulated a total of 15 weapons, all on the same level as the sky-splitting saber. Although he could exchange the destruction fruits in the Mountain of Destruction for sufficiently powerful weapons, Luo Feng was not in a hurry. He wanted to accumulate more destruction fruits for better treasures. Luo Feng's main battle avatar left the Abyss of Destruction, traveling with the aid of the Blood Crane territory's power. He reached the Flame Mountains in just one day. The vast and continuous flaming mountains before him distorted space, with energy flowing like water, presenting a rather unique scenery. Of such flame-type mysterious lands, 7 have been discovered to date, with the strongest undeniably being the Fire Prison Wall, an enormous mysterious land stretching about 100 world group lengths. By comparison, the Flame Mountains are quite ordinary, comparable to the Blood Crane territory. The Fluctuation Land, I've never heard of it before. Even Mo Man, who masters the primordial fluctuation Tao, discovers it only once in about 100,000 eras. It seems very unusual. Luo Feng was quite curious. Luo Feng. Finally, accompanied by a voice, the black-cloaked Lord Mo Man descended and appeared. "Thank you for this." Lord Mo Man said with a smile. He always lacked a helper like Luo Feng. With Luo Feng's presence, he could repeatedly use the forbidden techniques of his primordial fluctuation Tao, hoping to explore the fluctuation land in greater depth. It's nothing. Luo Feng smiled, asking curiously, where is the fluctuation land? Follow me. Mo Man smiled, and a wisp of fluctuation wrapped around Luo Feng, and they both vanished into thin air. Mo Man carried Luo Feng, transformed into a wave moving forward. How wondrous! Luo Feng also felt it was quite novel. It was different from traversing spacetime or using shadow power to escape. From a spacetime perspective, it might be an extremely distant distance, but a wave could reach it in an instant. By connecting different domains through waves, it could even instantly cross vast territories. Among the 8 lords, the fastest is Starlight, followed by Mo Man. Luo Feng thought. Starlight moves as if stepping out of the endless primordial space, turning the vast space into a map, walking on it. But looking across the endless primordial space, though Starlight is the fastest, the infinite Great Snake Clan can descend upon any part of the endless primordial space at any time by using the unique properties of the infinite world. In this aspect, the infinite Great Snake Clan's travel efficiency is the highest. Even the world-level infinite Great Serpent can descend anywhere. The only drawback is that the infinite Great Snake Clan's descent and departure via the infinite world can only be used by themselves. They cannot carry any life. The infinite world is indeed remarkable. Luo Feng also had to admit the extraordinariness of the infinite world. The infinite snake ancestor, with this blessing, can achieve absolute void. No matter or energy can harm it. I can only use life-cutting to hurt it, but life-cutting has an energy limit. Now that I've mastered the primordial life and death Tao and the primordial blade path, I can try to find a mysterious land that suits me. Luo Feng thought. The Blood Crane territory, belonging to the ordinary mysterious land, most of the mysterious lands refined by lords and ancestors are of this level. The infinite world is considered an intermediate mysterious land and has various mystical features. This level of mysterious land is also the extreme that lords and ancestors aspire to control. Eternal World, Abyss of Destruction, and Fire Prison Wall are recognized as the highest level of mysterious land. There's not a glimmer of hope for refining them. Luo Feng also only thought of finding a suitable intermediate mysterious land. We're almost there. Mo Man suddenly spoke. Oh. Luo Feng continued to travel while also sensing carefully, vaguely detecting some waves. Even Luo Feng, who didn't understand the mysteries of fluctuation, could sense the waves, indicating that the waves were already very strong. Boom tilde tilde tilde, as they got closer, the intensity of the fluctuation quickly rose. The fluctuation land greatly affects the mind, guard your inner heart, Mo Man said. All right. Luo Feng's mind consciousness system is a key part of the primordial life Tao, and he was confident in handling it. Then Mo Man took Luo Feng for the final crossing. After this crossing, they had completely arrived at the fluctuation land. What is this? Luo Feng was shocked as he looked at the scene in front of him. Great waves materialized, converged here, and each wave produced a tremendous sound, even resonating with Luo Feng's heart. The myriad waves interwove to form an incredibly awe-inspiring song. How beautiful! The numerous vast waves wove together without the slightest confusion, perfectly forming a song. This song's level of awe surpassed the countless intense emotions impact of the mountain of destruction. At this moment, Luo Feng, in a trance, saw the void continue and time evolve. Saw worlds being nurtured and born like seeds. Saw mysterious lands converging and forming. Saw countless creatures, weak source world creatures, numerous innate primordial life, and even ancestor-level life just born. How beautiful! Luo Feng was captivated by the song, which refined his heart. For world-level primordial life, hearing the first note would cause their soul to disintegrate and die. For some weaker-willed ancestors, it could lead to a slumber. For cultivator lords, they could resist. If they withstand it, it becomes a heart-refining experience instead. Luo Feng's spiritual will is indeed extraordinary, feeling no pain but rather enjoyment, Mo Man observed from the side, patiently waiting for Luo Feng to listen to the song without rushing his exploration. A day later, Luo Feng awoke as if from a great dream, instantly saying, Mo Man, sorry to keep you waiting. I invited you here to help, Mo Man smiled. Such a short time is nothing. By the way, what do you think of this song? Remarkable. Luo Feng marveled. It's the most incredible song I've ever heard. Anyone who could play this song would solely, by this ability, become an ancestor. Throughout the process of listening, Luo Feng remained conscious. But the song was so pleasing that he didn't want to wake up, hence it lasted a day. This is a song of the entire endless primordial space, Mo Man said. Luo Feng appeared slightly puzzled. Everything in the endless primordial space, including space-time, all things, mysterious lands, and even all life, has its fluctuations, Mo Man explained, and the countless fluctuations gathered here formed the fluctuation land, naturally composing such a song. Luo Feng understood that this had already transcended the realm of a simple earthly melody. The waves are constantly changing. Mo Man said, every about 100,000 epochs, reaching the peak of fluctuation, it completely manifests. It remains visible for about one epoch, and then, with the fluctuation changes, it completely conceals. Even in its manifested state, only I can perceive and follow the waves to find it. Looks like you are fated with this place. Luo Feng smiled. I hope so. Mo Man's eyes burned as he gazed at the vast, materialized waves before him. I've tried repeatedly before but couldn't delve into the fluctuation land. This time, with you, Luo Feng, helping, I'm hoping to explore its core. I can't understand anything about this fluctuation land. Whatever I need to do, just say it. Luo Feng looked ahead. To him, it was merely numerous vast, materialized waves. Pure fluctuation, what is there to explore? When I need energy supply, Brother Luo Feng, please supply it with all your might, Mo Man said, let's go in now. Enter? Luo Feng was slightly confused. Enter where? Whoosh. Mo Man took Luo Feng with him and they transformed into a wave that merged into a larger, more powerful wave, swiftly delving deeper by following the tune woven by these waves. Luo Feng curiously observed his surroundings as they weaved through wave after wave. These countless waves can be called a super labyrinth. Only by mastering the art of primordial fluctuations can one decipher the labyrinth, Luo Feng speculated, his surroundings already a world of waves. Gradually, Mo Man slowed down with Luo Feng. Mo Man frowned, carefully sensing. I need to start burning my main battle avatar, Luo Feng. You need to support me constantly to keep me at my pinnacle state, Mo Man said. No problem, Luo Feng replied easily. Mo Man's small frame has an energy reserve only about 1% of his own. All he needed to do was supplement Mo Man's energy consumption, which was indeed easy. Boom! Mo Man's aura surged, his power igniting as he began to forcibly influence the fluctuations. He transformed himself into a source of fluctuations to impact the countless waves of the fluctuation land. This consumed a lot of energy, but with Luo Feng's help, Mo Man had the confidence to do it. Ha ha, the power is greater, and the effect is wonderful, Mo Man laughed, unable to squander energy like this when exploring alone. Now he could exert any technique without worrying about energy. Through his exploration, Mo Man, taking Luo Feng with him, seemed to have become a part of the fluctuation land, constantly delving deeper. Clearing paths through mountains, building bridges over water. Once his momentum was strong enough, Mo Man's progress was much smoother. A moment later, Luo Feng suddenly saw a massive object in front of him, resembling a giant egg, expanding and contracting, producing numerous fluctuations. Mo Man looked excited as he stared at it. This is my first time here. Mo Man extended his hand, a phantom wave hand lightly touching the membrane wall. Upon touch, Mo Man immediately understood the structure of the membrane wall. Luo Feng, can you cleave open its membrane wall with a single blade? Please control the power, Mo Man said, just break the membrane wall without harming the inside. All right. Luo Feng nodded. He could sense that this egg-like massive object radiated strong vitality, allowing him to determine the membrane wall's thickness through this vitality sense. Swoosh! Luo Feng instantly drew his blade. A flash of the blade light. With 1/10 of his energy reserve embedded in this strike, the blade light was extremely restrained without the slightest overflow. The blade light gently sliced the massive membrane wall, creating a silent crack. With this blade, the membrane wall was split open without any power affecting anything else. It seemed like an ordinary blade strike, but Mo Man understood that in the endless primordial space, only Luophone could accomplish this. Considering the sheer energy in this strike equated to 10 of Mo Man's bodies and encapsulated the fusion of two primordial level paths, the momentum was self-evident. It was precisely such a tenacious membrane wall that split so easily. If it were me, I'd need to execute several techniques to break open the membrane wall without internal damage, Mo Man thought, immediately taking Luophone with him through the newly opened crack. After they entered, the crack in the membrane wall healed entirely in just a few breaths. Inside the membrane wall, Mo Man and Luophone stood on a vast land with a stone-like heart floating above, emanating waves. Finally, I see it, Mo Man excitedly stretched out his hand, forming a massive phantom wave hand to lightly touch the stone heart. However, at the moment of contact, Mo Man's wave hand silently vanished. So strong, Mo Man observed. What is this? Luophone examined the stone heart. This is the core of the Fluctuation land, Mo Man smiled at Luophone. In the history of endless primordial space, only the two of us have seen this core. Up next, I need to delve into understanding this core. Luophone, if you're interested, you can try sensing it too. Don't mind me, go ahead with your comprehension, Luophone smiled. Mo Man nodded and sat down on the ground, focusing on comprehending that stone heart. He had longed for this day for who knows how long, naturally cherishing the time. Luophone watched from the side, releasing a wisp of the power of life and death to touch the stone heart. At the moment of contact, he felt terrifying turbulent obliteration, along with an unfathomable vast pressure that annihilated his power instantly. So powerful. Luophone was startled. It seems like a source of fluctuations, requiring a profound mastery over fluctuations to even attempt comprehension. Moreover, its internal structure seems tied with the endless primordial space. When I touch it, I face a crushing force equivalent to a trace of the endless primordial space's power. Luophone had a premonition that even if his main battle avatar gave its all, the result would still be destruction. Clearly, one couldn't be forceful with this stone heart. Only by gently and meticulously comprehending its mysteries could there be hope to refine and control it. Judging from its power, it's much stronger than the Blood Crane territory origin. I estimate it's at least an intermediate mysterious land. Luophone speculated. At least an intermediate mysterious land, making refining incredibly difficult. Even if Mo Man had Luophone's help reaching this place, refining depended entirely on his own efforts. Within the membrane wall, Lord Mo Man was concentrated on studying the stone heart, while Luophone sat cross-legged nearby, assisting with protection. Looking at that stone heart, Luophone was quite curious, but he dared not use the power of life and death to touch it. Instead, he cautiously let a sliver of thought penetrate, trying to sense a thing or two. As the thought penetrated, he sensed the terrifying fluctuations emanating from the stone heart, and with Luophone's knowledge, he could not comprehend the mysteries of these fluctuations. His thought perceived the stone heart itself, feeling an infinite heaviness. This heaviness surpassed everything Luophone knew about life forms. Even Lord Wulan and the initial ancestor were not as substantial as the stone heart. Nothing to do with life or destruction, I completely cannot understand. Luophone was somewhat puzzled, unlike the corpse materials of those ancestors, with relatively stable secret patterns. I can at least distinguish different categories. But the mysteries I perceive in this stone heart are fluctuating and changing. If one does not understand the fluctuation path, they cannot comprehend the changes. Luophone gently shook his head. The threshold for enlightenment is genuinely high. Even Mo Man, who mastered the primordial fluctuation Tao, needed my assistance to reach here. One can guess that the enlightenment threshold is extremely high. But the stronger the mysterious land, the higher the threshold to see the core. Like the land of eternity, although Luophone and others could take a seat in the land of eternity, none could see its core. In the abyss of destruction, there have only been 3 spots for entering the mountain of destruction. Even till now, the core has not been found. It is only known that, passing the 7 layers of test can make one master the abyss of destruction. For the fire prison wall, only the initial ancestor can cross it by themselves. As for the core, it is also unseen. Compared to those three places, the fluctuation land, where one can see the core, is already not bad. Since Luo Feng could not make sense of it, he no longer wasted time and instead focused on his combat techniques. The combat techniques I created by combining the Primordial Life and Death Dao and the Primordial Blade Path are only 4 types. I am also continuing to perfect the 5th one, the Clone Battle Technique. Luo Feng continued his improvements. The 2 of them should have entered the Fluctuation Land. The cold-faced youth named Starlight looked into the distance, although he could not spy on the Fluctuation Land, because Mo Man had once invited him to help. He knew the periodic cycle of the appearance of the Fluctuation Land. That time, he accompanied Mo Man, yet his temporal techniques were useless in the Fluctuation Land, and the help he provided to Mo Man was very limited. In the end, they still could not reach the core of the Fluctuation Land. Since they have not appeared for such a long time, perhaps they could enter the core. Starlight smiled slightly. In my judgment, the Fluctuation Land should be an intermediate mysterious land. Some ancestors will hide their methods. For instance, does Shoju control a mysterious world? A bit more detailed intelligence about the hermit? Does the Pu Cheng ancestor control a mysterious world? These are difficult to verify. But based on known information, only the infinite snake ancestor controlling the infinite world can be considered an intermediate mysterious world. The infinite snake ancestor successfully refining it may have taken advantage of the infinite world's nurturing of life. After all, even world-level infinite great serpent inclinations can leverage the power of the infinite world, capable of descending upon any place within the endless primordial space, and can also return. The infinite snake ancestor can be considered the first to control an intermediate mysterious land. I wonder who will be the second to achieve it. Starlight mused, I'll ask Luo Feng for help once his combat techniques become more mature. Starlight's understanding of the endless primordial space is second to none, and he discovered a place that fits him as an intermediate mysterious land. As a master of 2 primordial level paths, the ordinary mysterious land Time Star provides him with little help, and his power has long reached a bottleneck, making progress extremely hard. A suitable intermediate mysterious land is enormously important. ******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** within the membrane wall. The nearby Luophone, who was assisting with guarding, suddenly noticed that the membrane wall around started to become illusory, and the vast, almost tangible fluctuations outside the membrane wall also began to become illusory, gradually disappearing. The fluctuations are weakening. Is this fluctuation land beginning to hide? Luophone carefully observed. The previously extremely solid stone heart, its surface solid material also became illusory and fragile, revealing its inside, a point of incomparably bright light, seemingly a wave. Is this the true face of the core? Luophone attempted, allowing a thread of thought to penetrate. The weakening fluctuations made the stone heart extremely fragile, the material on its surface completely vanished, leaving only the core point. Luophone's thought encountered no obstruction, successfully touching that point. Buzz. At the instant the thought touched, Luophone vaguely saw the entire endless primordial space. But it was seen from the perspective of fluctuation, where in the world of fluctuation, one source world after another appeared inconspicuous, and Luophone even felt some stronger mysterious lands. That was. Luophone sensed 3 terrifying fluctuation vortexes. These 3 places. They are 3 enormous fluctuation vortexes, remarkably apparent. With Luophone's understanding of the endless primordial space territory, he quickly deduced the corresponding locations of these 3 vortexes. Abyss of Destruction, Land of Eternity, Fire Prison Wall. Luophone confirmed that these 3 places correspond to the 3 largest fluctuation vortexes. In the world of fluctuation, the fire prison wall emitted endless heat fluctuations, overpoweringly scorching. It spanned the length of hundreds of world groups, exceeded the width of a world group, and everywhere extended various highest-level flame powers. This endless heat fluctuation transmitted, relaying to every corner of the endless space. Whether within the source world life or countless innate primordial lives, the vast majority of them could be born, all have been influenced by the invisible heat fluctuations. The fire prison wall, with its endless heat fluctuations, is actively radiating outwards. Abyss of destruction, but it devours countless fluctuations. In the world of fluctuations, the abyss of destruction absorbs the intense hatred, killing intent, unwillingness, resentment, and other negative emotions of endless beings. These negative emotions also influence the will of the abyss of destruction. The land of eternity is the key to the sustenance of the endless primordial space. In Luo Feng's perception, the land of eternity balances the fire prison wall and the abyss of destruction, and even indirectly affects all mysterious lands, influencing countless world groups. The existence of the land of eternity is what ensures the endless primordial space can continue to exist eternally. Otherwise, the terrifying energies within the endless primordial space would have long formed recurring energy storms, making it impossible for so many weaker life forms to exist. The fire prison wall, abyss of destruction, land of eternity, they are more like the three poles of the endless primordial space. Luo Feng, from the perspective of fluctuations, gained more awareness of the endless primordial space. I need to pay more attention to the abyss of destruction. Ideally, I can pass the 7 layers of test and take control of the abyss of destruction. Luo Feng thought, among these 3 poles, the other 2 places he saw no hope of refining, at least the abyss of destruction showed a direction. Whoosh! While Luo Feng was sensing the world of fluctuations, that point, or rather, that wave completely disappeared. The fluctuation land vanished entirely. The place where Luo Feng and Lord Mo Man stood also returned to a normal time and space. Gone. Luo Feng was somewhat at a loss, as the core of this intermediate mysterious land had greatly enhanced his understanding of the endless primordial space. The fluctuation land seemed to exist in reality. That stone heart seemed unbreakable. But in actuality, it was all a combination of fluctuations. Lord Mo Man said with a smile from the side, once everything's fluctuation surpasses its peak, they disperse and completely vanish. Luo Feng said, I feel like the fluctuation land has completely dissipated. Lord Mo Man looked at Luo Feng, strictly speaking, at the peak of fluctuations, the fluctuation land is most solid. And once the fluctuations decrease, the fluctuation land rapidly disperses. In my estimation of the lowest valley of fluctuations, the fluctuation land should have dispersed throughout the entire endless primordial space. Luo Feng understood, small as a point, large as to spread throughout the endless primordial space. Interesting. Such a perpetually changing mysterious land is indeed unique. Let's go. Lord Mo Man said with a smile. Mo Man, are you confident in refining it? Luo Feng asked. Lord Mo Man shook his head, not enough strength. Even if he managed to cunningly reach the core, he still couldn't refine it. Is there anything I can help with? Luo Feng asked. You've already helped a lot this time. Mo Man smiled. Luo Feng didn't say more and immediately left together with Lord Mo Man. Fluctuation land. With a black cape billowing, Lord Mo Man's eyes gleamed mysteriously. This time I finally know how to refine it. For me, the simplest method is to comprehend a highest level power of the world. Primordial fluctuation Tao, plus a power of the world. This is already the simplest direction. Because Lord Mo Man has perceived every part of the endless primordial space in the form of a wave for countless epochs, his understanding of the world is very high, and he believes the highest level power of the world is his most likely hope. Besides the fluctuation path, to comprehend a power of the world? This path is very difficult, and even endless epochs may not be enough. Lord Mo Man thought, as he had decided to walk down this path. Once successful on this path, with an additional highest level power, along with the support of fluctuation land, his strength would greatly increase. Once I master the power of the world, I won't need Luo Feng's help to enter the core myself. Lord Mo Man thought. After accompanying Lord Mo Man to the fluctuation land, Luo Feng continued to retreat to create combat techniques. After more than 100 epochs, the 5th combat technique has been achieved. In the 28th layer of the Abyss of Destruction, Luophone's aura surged rapidly, quickly reaching the state of the main battle avatar. With 5 combat techniques, my entire combat system is now formed. Luophone was well aware that even if he were to ponder 1 or 2 more combat techniques, there wouldn't be any significant improvement. Having mastered 2 primordial level DAOs and possessing a complete set of 5 combat techniques, his strength had already reached a bottleneck. From now on, even the slightest progress would be extremely difficult. Starlight was also in this state. As for comprehending the 3rd DAO, the hope was too slim. Abyss of Destruction, from the perspective of fluctuations, is one of the 3 poles of the endless primordial space. I wonder if my current strength can reach the deepest level of the Abyss of Destruction. Swoosh! Luophone took a step, traversing time and space to enter the deeper 29th layer. This episode is end here.